Do you have a game from your childhood that you just couldn't finish? Maybe you got bored, or maybe your siblings stopped playing it with you, or in my case, maybe you just weren't good enough to finish it. For me, that game, my magnum opus, the one that got away, was 2009's Bakugan Battle Brawlers. For me, it was the Wii version, but it was also released on the PS2, DS, and wait, this was on the PS3 and the Xbox? Well shit, why am I playing the PS2 version? I'm serious, I didn't know this was on the PS3 until right now when I'm writing the script. The point is, I loved playing this game as a kid, but I think it was just a little bit too complicated for my run into a wall until it breaks childhood self. I mean, this is coming from the guy who only taught his Pokemon damaging moves because the only stat I ever cared about was getting my opponent's health to 0. Welcome everybody to Rewind Review, the show where I take a second look at a game from my childhood and determine how I feel about it now. As mentioned, today we'll be taking a look at Activision and Now Productions' anime tie-in game, Bakugan Battle Brawlers.
Bakugan Battle Brawlers.
Bakugan, brawl!
Top-ranked Bakugan players, prepare the arena for battle. Arm yourself with a Baku clip, or present your Baku rack and choose from your collection. The Battle Brawl is on. Now there are 30 new more powerful Bakugan and hundreds of Bakugan to collect. This is the final stand. Only one player will rank number 1. Bakugan, the time for battle is now.
For those of you somehow unaware, Bakugan was a toy series created by Sega Toys and Canadian company Spin Master that also had a pretty damn popular anime of the same name that I know I watched a ton of. Basically, you had these ball-shaped toys, and when attached to a magnet, they popped out into cool monster forms. I loved these things as a kid, but I never really understood that there was a game attached to them. I thought they were kind of just toys. But you see this number here? This is the G power of a Bakugan, and it basically determines its strength. Every Bakugan, or at least the ones from the early series, I don't know about the later ones all too much, I know that there was some weird ones in there, have one. You're supposed to launch or roll your Bakugan onto these magnetic gate cards that add power to your Bakugan based on the listed attribute. I'll go into more details when we get into the gameplay section of the video, but all you need to know for now is that the bigger number wins, and you have different cards that let you increase that number. I collected a whole bunch of these guys, and I still have all of them today, in better or worse condition than when I got them. Not looking too good there, Drago. My parents bought me these so often that I didn't even really have to ask for them, and when the video game came out, I'm pretty sure I just came home one day and my parents had bought it for me. It was awesome. I played on the Wii literally any time I was home from school, and when I was in the height of my Bakugan phase, 8-year-old me was overjoyed. I don't really remember this game being especially hard, but I know for a fact that I got to the end of it, and for one reason or another never beat it. And not from lack of trying either. So I decided the best thing for me to do with my adult free time as a 24-year-old who lives with his parents is to take another crack at beating this 16-year-old children's game. Let's jump into Bakugan Battle Brawlers, this time on the PlayStation 2. The game opens up with a pretty basic character customizer. You can choose your face, your hair, your clothes, and your preferred attribute. This will determine what attribute your partner is, by the way, so keep that in mind. It's actually pretty important. You know what option this doesn't have, though? I'll give you a second. See it? Yeah, for whatever reason, this game doesn't let you pick your gender, which I find kinda weird considering Bakugan does have a notable female character in its main cast, many of them actually. And despite appealing mainly to boys, I also know that there were quite a few girls at my school at least who had a passing interest in Bakugan. It seems like a missed opportunity, but oh well, I have my suspicions as to why they did it this way. Anyways, once your character is ready, we're shown quite a delightful looking cutscene of a bunch of Bakugan rising out of the Doom Dimension and forming what looks like another Bakugan. After that, enter you, or in this case me. We are accused by local bullies and Bakugan players, the brothers Shuji and Akira. And real quick, yes, you are an actual character in this game. You have lines, you have a personality, desires, and that's one of the big reasons I think that there's no gender option. They would have had to pay a whole other voice actress for every line the avatar says, not to mention unique animations and different facial structures and customization options. I don't assume that the budget for this game was very large, so I understand. We're brand new at Bakugan, and we're a little baby who doesn't even know the rules of the game. And that's true, I don't, you don't have to rub it in. Sorry, anyways, internet famous child, co-inventor of the rules of Bakugan, and leader of the Battle Brawlers, Dan Kuso shows up just in time to save our ass and helps us learn the rules. He was defeated by some crazy strong Bakugan right before this happened, and no one's seen it before. But this game's pretty simple. It follows the same basic rules as the actual card game. At the start of every match, all players choose a gate card to put down. That's the magnetic ones. Which remember all of different values that they boost each attribute by, as well as some specific rules that apply when a battle starts on that card. Each player has up to 3 Bakugan on their team with a few different stats. I'll go into them a bit later. Once you pick which Bakugan you want to use, you have 2 different shot types. A normal throw that's weaker and lets your Bakugan bounce around or be controlled easily, and a power throw, meant for a long distance and bashing into your opponent's Bakugan for a surprise attack that lowers their G-power. After you throw in this game, you can move your Bakugan around as long as you have stamina. The goal is to get your Bakugan onto your gate card of choice. If you run out of stamina without touching a card though, or if you fall off the ledge of the arena, your turn ends and you have to try again next turn. There's no real penalty for this other than losing a turn. I guess I'll go into the stats here since they aren't too important for this video and you can get them out of the way. Speed is not so obviously how fast you throw your Bakugan. More speed means it's going further. Defense is how much G-power you lose when you're hit with a surprise attack, or as they're called, sphere attacks. Or defense means that you lose less G-power. Acceleration is how fast your Bakugan rolls around when you're controlling it. Endurance is how much stamina you have to roll around with. And jump is, well, how high your Bakugan jumps, obviously. The last and most important stat is, of course, your Bakugan's starting G-power. The goal of every battle is to have a higher G-power than your opponent, so this is kind of the only stat that matters in the long run, if you know what you're doing, of course. Additionally, at the start of every turn, you can place down one of your other 3 gate cards, which are also divided into 3 different categories. Gold cards, which give even more G-power to a specific Bakugan if they land on it. Silver cards, which just boost G-power and don't really have any special effects. And copper cards, that have unique special rules for the battle that takes place on them. You get one of each in your deck. To win a match, you have to win 3 gate cards, and you can do this in 3 different ways. Win a battle against an opponent's Bakugan, land 2 of your own on a card for a double stand, or if all 3 of your Bakugan are already on a gate card, and you start your next turn with all of them still standing, you can choose which gate card you'd like to win. But come on, the most important thing here is clearly battles. If you and an opponent land your Bakugan on the same card, a battle starts. And might I say, while I'm playing with upscaled resolution, this PS2 game still looks quite nice, especially the models and animations of the Bakugan themselves. I get major Pokemon Stadium/Coliseum vibes from this game's presentation, and it looks even better on the PS3 and Xbox too. When a battle starts, the attribute boost from the gate card is applied to each Bakugan on it, and any special rules are now in play. Like, for example, Chaos and Ventus Bakugan both get an extra 100 G-power, or it forces you into a specific battle type, stuff like that. You also have our next topic, ability cards. Much like gate cards, there's also 3 categories of these, red, green, and blue, and you get one of each as well. Reds just give a boost to specific attributes, green gives an extra boost to a specific Bakugan, and blues, like copper cards, have specific conditions that have to be met in order to give your Bakugan a boost, like having 3 different ones of different attributes in your hands, or they apply specific rules to the battle. Once you're happy with the G-power of your Bakugan, or if you simply don't have any more ways of boosting it, the battle starts. Like everything in this game, it seems, there are 3 different battle types that can happen. I think based on the gate card that the battle takes place on, but I'm gonna be real here, I have no idea. It might be totally random. Please tell me if you know, but I don't. And hey, while you're there, if you like this video and you want to see more, you can leave a like and subscribe to the channel. But only if you want to, of course. The first battle type I got, and my favorite, is a timing battle. Like Baby's first rhythm game, you just have to hit the corresponding button at the right time. And if you do it without making mistakes, you get extra bonuses to your G-Power. There's also 3 difficulty levels for each game. Wow, another 3, what a surprise. And this one, in my opinion, only gets more fun the higher difficulty it is, but I also really love timing games like this. The second type is the shooting battle. You have to aim at and shoot your own element in this wheel here. On the PS2 version, you just move the analog stick in the direction of your attribute and hit R2 to shoot. Again, if you shoot your element multiple times in a row, you do get extra G-Power too. On higher difficulty, there's also a gold symbol that hits a bunch of symbols all at once for a nice boost. But I remember this minigame being very different on the Wii. In that version, attribute symbols appear all over the screen, and you have to point your remote at them and shoot that way. I think I prefer this version a little bit better, since the motion controls on the Wii version were pretty arbitrary in my opinion, but looking at it now, yeah, the graphics for the PS2 version are quite a bit worse. Oh well. The last, and honestly my least favorite battle type, is power battles. Yay! Hey kids, you remember that Mario Party minigame that shreds the palm of your hand to the point that Nintendo had to issue a statement and sell gloves to make it bearable? No? Well, let's put it all throughout our game and make it the seemingly most common battle type. Seriously, the PS2 version of this battle minigame sucks. You have to quickly move the analog sticks up, down, left, or right repeatedly for like 20 seconds. It's not too bad on the first and maybe even the second difficulty, where you can just move them in any way you want. And on medium difficulty, you have to stop sometimes, but hard sucks hard. Since you have to move the stick specifically up and down or specifically left and right, and it switches like 3 or 4 times, by the end of every play session, I could feel it in my palms. This was not fun. I do think the Wii version is better here, since you just have to vigorously shake the Wii remote and nunchuck to play it. Moving on though, once the minigame is over, if your G-Power is higher than your opponent's, then you win the battle and the gate card, and vice versa, of course. It's totally possible to come into a battle game with lower G-Power than your opponent and come out of it stronger than them. In fact, I think this was the case for at least half of the battles that I played. It's a pretty good feeling too. All things considered, I really like the battle system in this game, and I had a lot of fun with it. You know, when my palms weren't bleeding. So after we win 3 gate cards against old Shuji here, he doesn't take the loss well, and promises to beat us at the upcoming tournament. Dan praises us, but we feel uncertain about entering, since we don't even have a partner Bakugan like his Dragonoid. Ooh, his is looking a little bit better than mine is. We still just have the chump starter Bakugan that the game gave us. But Dan wishes us luck and we go our separate ways. And hey look, a world map! We'll go into each section in a bit, but I want to mention here that the load screens on the PS2 version are painfully slow. I swear, every time a character shows up on screen, you're waiting like 10 seconds at least. And if I couldn't speed this game up, I think the loading screens would start to be a bit unbearable. There's like 10 to 20 loading screens during every single battle, and it really adds up. I don't remember this being an issue with the Wii version either, so I guess it's probably just the PS2 one. I do kind of regret not playing the PS3 version, but emulation is a bit iffy with that, and there's no way in hell I'm booting up my actual fire hazard of a PS3 to play a game from 2009. There's also a few things to note about the gameplay here that I want to address before we move on. For starters, moving your Bakugan either feels great or terrible. There is no in between. I want to say like 80% of the time maneuvering your Bakugan is very responsive and they do go exactly where you want them to go, but with the game having momentum and physics, sometimes things are a bit wonky. A Bakugan not turning, going through geometry, bouncing off a slightly weird hitbox and getting sent 1,000 miles away. Stuff like that, but like I said, it usually feels pretty great. Moving on, our next stop is the store. Here we can buy new Bakugan, gate cards, and ability cards, which will be unlocked as we play the game, as well as where we can upgrade our Bakugan using BP. I'll tell you right now though, see all these stats? Right from here to here? Forget about them. If they're 3 or higher, you don't even have to think about upgrading them. Sometimes a 2 is even okay. Every time you upgrade, you should always be investing in G-Power, trust me. I don't think I upgraded anything as a kid, or maybe I tried to upgrade every stat not realizing the level cap was 10. But either way, I think this was a huge reason why I couldn't beat this game, but I just can't remember exactly why. Leaving the store brings us back to the park. And while we're still surprisingly optimistic, a bright heavenly light engulfs the area, and out of nowhere comes our mysterious new partner, Leonidas. My favorite thing in the world as a kid. Leonidas, who by the way will match the attribute you chose when making your character, doesn't know where he is and doesn't seem to know much of anything really, only that he wants to fight other strong Bakugan. Getting some major Goku vibes going on with this guy, but notably he's less friendly. He agrees to join us so we can battle a lot, and now he's our permanent new partner. This unlocks some new sections on the map for us: my room, the park properly, and the tournament arena. My room is pretty simple, just a spot for us to edit our team, change our appearance, check our ranking, save the game, that kind of basic game stuff. The park, however, serves as our free battle arena, letting us take on any brawler that we've fought so far, increasing in difficulty whenever we face them in the tournaments. We can also check our achievement goals, but they're pretty straightforward and all of them are pretty easy, though the collection ones do require a fair amount of grinding for BP. Next we take on Akira, a Subterra user, and we win very easily. The fights throughout most of this game really aren't very difficult, and these early ones are honestly a bit brain dead, though fun nonetheless. It's actually sometimes just as fun to win gate cards through strategies like double standing as it is through battling. Really, I can't stress enough how this is just a really fun game to play. I have to give huge props to the IRL game for these rules because they're pretty great. I do imagine this being a lot less fun in person though, since you actually have to land a real Bakugan on a very small card, and some of these things don't roll very well. The rules of the later seasons also get much more complicated with traps and augments, and I think I'll just stick to this video game as my go-to way to play Bakugan. I could see a sequel to this going hard with online multiplayer. Throughout my time playing, I go back to the park many times to fight each brawler and get some BP, so while I won't mention it going forward, keep in mind that I'm fighting them every chance I get so that I can unlock stuff in the store. All of this leads us to our first tournament. We're a bit worried about internet-famous children in Bakugan Brawlers Runo and Marucho entering, but Leonidas doesn't really care and just wants to fight. Ah, Runo. A childhood crush that would be wildly inappropriate now. How quaint. Our first fight is against, surprise surprise, it's Shuji again. He uses Subterra this time around, but interestingly, every time we fight him in a tournament, he'll be using a different attribute or team, which I thought was pretty cool. I use my slightly updated Chaos team and once again take a very easy victory. Hey look, I have this one, but it's so small. Our next battle is against fellow Chaos user Runo, a confident and sometimes abrasive battle brawler whose partner is Tigrera, one of my favorite Bakugan from the show, but kind of middling as a toy. I have this one too. Something to note here is that a pretty dominating strategy in this game, or to start off at least, is by using a gate card that gives Leonidas extra G power and immediately throwing him onto it turn 1. Best case scenario, someone will pick a fight with him and you'll get a free gate card, or you can set up your other Bakugan and sweep while he just sits there, menacingly. Also, when going against a Bakugan of your same attribute, the shooting minigame becomes a little bit harder since you're both going for the same symbols. It's not too bad here since Runo seems to have gotten a lobotomy before this battle, but later on it could be a little bit annoying. But we take the dub and move on to our final opponent, the battle brawler Marucho. He's your typical nerd archetype, but he's actually a pretty good character. I think he basically creates a virtual universe later on. I don't know. I kind of stopped watching during the second season. Anyways, he's an Aquas user whose partner is the attribute-changing Preyas. I have this one too, but it's small and green. Man, those starter Bakugan sets were not the highest quality. As a quick aside, I actually plan to sell most of my Bakugan collection and just buy the main ones from this season, since they're fun to play with sometimes. A lot of the later Bakugan completely changed their design principles, and I don't really like them all that much. Like how I like my Transformers boxy, I like my Bakugan pretty simple. The ones from these games are actually great examples of solid Bakugan. But getting back on track, Marucho's whole thing is strategy. Now, I don't actually know if his mechanics are different, but in my experience, he did seem to go for double stands more than the other characters. Furthermore, His partner Preyas' whole thing is that he can switch between 3 different attributes at the start of a turn, specifically being Aquas, Subterra, and Darkus. But I also completely steamroll this child, winning 3 cards before he even gets the chance to win 1. Sorry Marucho, I'm sure your millions of dollars for creating proprietary technology that the entire world uses will make you feel better about yourself later. And we did it! We win our first tournament and get a cool 5,000 BP to play around with. But not before Dan meets up again for some congratulations and introductions.
You did it! I can't believe you just won that tourney as a noob!
Alright, 2009. Well, I guess he's using it legitimately here, so whatever. Leonidas isn't one for conversation and is already scoffing like the shonen anti-hero I know he is. Marucho is a bit suspicious, since Leonidas didn't come from the Bakugan homeworld of Vestroia with the rest of them, and jokingly mentions that he might have been sent here to destroy the world or whatever. Dan isn't convinced, but Runo agrees and suggests that we find another partner, to which we respond with how obsessed fans of celebrities do when culty Grerin jealous of Leonidas. Dan then tells us that the next tournament is a tag team, and he wants to fight alongside us. I once again head to the park and do the tutorial for tag team fights with Dan against Shuji and Akira. They're pretty much identical to regular battles, but you and your partner both contribute to any gate cards won, and you can't fight your partner if you land on the same card. It's kinda whatever, and I think I prefer single battles in all honesty, since the CPUs can be kind of dumb. But they're not bad at all. When it's time to start the next tournament, Dan reassures us not to take Marucho and Renault's words to heart, and to just give it our all out there in hopes of entering the Ultimate Battle Tournament, an international tournament for the best of the best. Our first tag team battle is against the JJs, Jenny and Jules. Jenny's an Aquas user and Jules is a Subterra user. Fun fact, the voice acting in this game is pretty damn great. They got the original voice actors for the show, and honestly this story just feels like a 2 or 3 episode long arc from season 1. But, for whatever reason, Jenny and Jules' voice actresses got swapped. It's very weird for me, since this game is where I know them from best. I wonder if it was a mistake from the voice director handing them the wrong lines during the recording session, since their names are intentionally very similar, and I guess no one caught it when they were recording their lines. But this battle arena is new, it's Aquas themed, and it also introduces us to battle items. These are the collectibles that you can roll over with your Bakugan that give you bonus effects or increase your G-power before you land on a gate card. These G symbols boost your G-power. The cards give your Bakugan special effects like a barrier or mirroring your opponent's controls. The crystals give you boosts for the battle mini-games, and the fuel refills your stamina so you can keep on rolling. For the first few tournaments, there's really not much incentive to pick these up, like I didn't even really try to here, but later on they become very necessary to win certain fights. And at this point in the game, Leo had reached level 5 and unlocked special shots for us. Every attribute has a different one. Chaos increases your G-power while rolling, Ventus draws in nearby items, Pyrus increases the power of your sphere attacks, Aquas lets you infinitely roll your Bakugan, Subterra will send out a shockwave that makes every Bakugan in range lose 100 Gs, and Darkus makes the Bakugan invisible when it stands, and steals 40 Gs from each Bakugan in range. With Dan's help, we once again win a battle without our opponents getting even a single gate card, but we do get to see Dragonoid in action. Sorry again about your foot, buddy. Look, I have this one too, but don't ask why it looks like that. I'm pretty sure it's either a knockoff or a unique grab bag color. Moving on, we're up against the Subterra user Billy and his partner Cycloid, and the Ventus user Combo with his partner Harpus. I also changed up my own strategy by adding a Ventus Bakugan to my team. You see, I started with an ability card that boosts both Chaos and Ventus Bakugan, and most of my gate cards also boost Ventus quite a bit. It's good for when I'm up against a Chaos user and I don't want to compete for G-power, or I can place it on a Ventus user's gate card knowing I'll get a pretty good boost from it. You'll notice that every map has an on-rails section that you can roll your Bakugan to that gives you tons of G-power for very little effort. It's very important later on that you figure out where these are, but for now it's just a fun little bonus thing. Dan somehow almost completely loses this battle for us, stupidly using weaker Bakugan against our opponents and letting them win 2 gate cards before we even get 1. So I have to play my ass off to bring us back and actually win this for us. Jeez, Dan, I thought you were supposed to be the best Bakugan Battle Brawler in the world. Or at least Canada, which I'm headcanoning that this whole game and show now take place in. But thanks to my efforts, we once again win. Next up is the semifinals against Pyrus user Chan Li with their partner Fortress, and Chaos user Julio with his partner Tentaclear. Oh hey, they have the same attributes as us. Cool. They also don't really put up much of a fight, and we win this battle easily. Though the unique partner Bakugan are proving to be a bit of a concern, with their G-Power pretty quickly outpacing Leonidas without his gate card. And of course, as expected, the finals is a rematch against both Runo and Marucho, who we already went over. Really trying to prove themselves wrong by beating Leonidas. But wait, wouldn't that mean that he isn't dangerous if they can actually beat him? Well, it's a good thing that they can't, because seriously, we once again win all 3 gate cards in just 3 turns. Even with them busting out Tigrera turn 1 to try to turn Leonidas into a small white paste. We celebrate with Dan and he tells us that the next tourney is a battle royale. So we gotta head to the park again after we spend those sweet victory BP. Battle royales are exactly what you think. It has 4 players again, but instead of working as a team, you all have your own gate cards and have to fight anyone that you encounter. I personally find these ones pretty interchangeable with one-on-ones, and I don't really have a preference between the two, but the next arena is Subterra themed, which means that Ventus has a disadvantage. So I swap out my other Chaos Bakugan to a temporary Subterra one to compensate. Before we can start the tournament, we're accused by another child internet celebrity and battle brawler Julie, yes, another J name, of being the ones who blindsided Dan and beat him at the start of the game. Which Julie hates, of course, because she has a huge crush on Dan. We defend ourselves, but nobody believes us, since Leonidas is aggressive, and nobody quite seems to know much about him. Tensions are a bit high between us and the Battle Brawlers right now, but we don't care, because we trust Leonidas as our partner, and he seems surprised at that. With that, it's time to start the tournament for real. This time we have Billy, Akira, and Shuji, who decides to use Ventus Bakugan for some reason. This is the first arena where I really decided to use the battle items, but it wasn't really necessary. It is very fun rolling around, avoiding the sand pits, bumping on the jump pads, and tactically landing on cards, so no complaints from me. Billy's Cycloid also proves to be a bit of a challenge, having much higher G-Power than any of the Bakugan that we've seen so far. None of that really matters though, as another easy win seems to find its way to me. Round 2 is against Julio, Chan Li, and new face Aquas user Klaus, with his partner, Cyranoid. His bio says that he collects all kinds of Bakugan, but he only ever seems to use Aquas ones in this game, so this one is a significantly less easy victory, due in part to my disadvantaged Ventus Bakugan and Klaus using double stands as often as he can. I still come out on top, but this was another close one. These partner Bakugan are seriously becoming a problem. Keep in mind that this whole time I've only been increasing Leonidas' G-Power except for like maybe twice. The finals are once again against Marucho, Runo, and now Subterra user Julie with her partner Goran, which I have in both forms. Runo and Marucho really won't get off my ass though. I've fought them every tournament now. Seriously guys, come on. The turn 1 Tigrera also continues her hunt, but fails yet again. And Julie manages to snag 2 gate cards through battles I was thankfully able to avoid the low times of by skipping. And I win the game with a cheeky double stand, which is both very anticlimactic and also incredibly funny to do. Before we have the chance to properly celebrate though, a mysterious young lad shows up taunting us. His name is Marduk. And apparently he's the greatest brawler in the world. But wait, his partner Bakugan is a darkest one called Vladitor, the Lord of all Bakugan. Why do I remember that? Hold on a minute. It was you. You're the reason I couldn't win the game. This was such a rush of nostalgia seeing this dude, floating there, gloating. I'll get you this time. We're challenged personally to a battle because Leonidas apparently has a darkness inside of him. Ooh, yeah, so do I. It's called depression. But we, of course, respond with,
"What a load of crud. Leonidas, let's put this guy in his place."
He wants to make Leonidas the general of his army that he totally has. But Leo's having none of it. Vladitor is ridiculously strong. His G-Power is in the 500s, and it's a bit of a challenge to match him with my current ability cards. My victories come from beating his other Bakugan in double stands, but I did win, despite Vladitor's overwhelming power. I wasn't able to handle him on a one-on-one battle quite yet, and I don't think I'd be able to for a while either. But then it's revealed, Leonidas is also from the Doom Dimension. He's the Bakugan we saw in the cutscene, and are we really surprised? I'm not, and that's with having forgotten the entire story of this game. Vladitor knows this because he too was also trapped in the Doom Dimension for eons. The Doom Dimension is basically Bakugan Hell, but also it's like a graveyard. It's the Shadow Realm from Yu-Gi-Oh!, let's be real. Leo refuses to join him yet again, and the bad guys peace out. He's apparently made of the hate and despair of all of the Bakugan trapped in the Doom Dimension, and really just wants to fight and beat every Bakugan there is. But he trusts us, and our partnership has changed him, the power of friendship, blah blah, you know the drill. Nobody else really seems to care about Leo's origin anymore, so I guess that plot point never really mattered anyways. Whatever. Some park battles and upgrades later, it's once again time for a new tourney. Ventus style this time, perfect for me. And of course, Mr.
Hotshot himself, Shun.
the other co-founder of the rules of Bakugan, doesn't take too kindly to us being the new, even hotter shot in town. He's here to stop Leo from breaking bad, despite the fact that Leo has very clearly stated that he does not want to. I guess nobody listens to us. This journey is more of the same, blowing away the JJs, purchasing Harpus for ourselves, a Bakugan that will remain on my team for the rest of the game, and putting out Chan Li's flames. By the way, Chan Li, Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee. Canada has a huge Asian population, and that's the best that the localization team could come up with? Alright, after that, we kick up some sand and beat Julie once again. That's 2 opponents who have a disadvantage in this arena, by the way, making this one of the easiest tournaments so far. This arena is pretty simple. There's no edge protection, and there are some tornadoes that can launch you off of them if you aren't careful. Pretty simple though, and these were some more fights that I didn't really need to collect battle items for. It does have a cool wind tunnel on rails section though, so there's that. But I don't know why they're sending out 2 different brawlers that have a disadvantage on this stadium. Very strange to me. But of course, all of this is leading to our match against Shun, a Ventus brawler whose partner is Skyrus. Both of these guys are a personal favorite of mine. I hate to say it, but he also really doesn't put up much of a fight. Skyrus is cool and all, but after Vladitor, nothing has really been a challenge. It's a bit unfortunate because Shun is supposed to be like the deuteragonist with Dan for every season of the show. He's basically the Vegeta to Dan's Goku. Oh well, at least this arena looked pretty and all. While it was over quickly, I guess that didn't really matter though. After this, Shun turns his opinion of us around, but he does still promise to act if Leo ever shows any signs of evil. Before we can talk about it more though, another bozo with Darkest Bakugan shows up to ruin our fun. This time it's Masquerade, the secondary and returning antagonist of the actual TV show. Apparently, he's working with Marduk, and he also tries to convince us to join through the very convincing strategy of beating us in a battle. I don't know what his plan is with that, but oh well. His partner is Hydronoid, and look, I have the super expensive Pearl version of its evolved form. I say super expensive, but it's worth like 60 bucks compared to the average 10 that my others are worth. I love Masquerade and Hydronoid, by the way. I always wanted Hydronoid as a kid, but I never got the original one. And for the longest time, I didn't even know that the one that I had was a Hydronoid. I found that out like last month. That's for sure on my list of ones to buy in the future after I sell these ones. This fight is laughably easy though. Like, not a single one of his Bakugan even got close to beating any of mine. This felt like a coughing baby, and trust me, I was dropping that hydrogen bomb. Embarrassed, but keeping it cool, he also pieces out, but still offers one last time for us to join him. And then, like an incel, he gets mad when we reject him. Meanwhile, Papa Naga over here is glazing Vladitor, and it turns out the series' big bad Hal G is offering him absolute power, if he can beat the Battle Brawlers and Leo, since their interests, for now, align. Vladitor says that he'll beat all Bakugan, which Naga, a Bakugan, isn't too happy about. If you're lost, Naga and Halgi are the main villains of the TV show, but they don't really serve a purpose here other than having a MacGuffin. Funnily enough, you're probably going to fight him at some point in this game since Naga has nearly finished code in this game, but he's missing a victory screen, so if you hack him in and you win the fight, the game will crash. He's cool though. It seems there's some tension on the villain side of things too, since their alliances are tentative at best. Surprise, surprise, the next tournament is Pyrus themed. Did you see that one coming? I pick up Fortress and rearrange my deck a bit so that I can use the field to my advantage, since I was expecting the unique Bakugan to show up again, and I can't really afford to slack now with how high their G-Power has been getting. Dan is impressed by us, and promises that if we beat him in this tournament, he'll make us an official battle brawler, my childhood dream, for like a year or two. And then it was probably back to being a Pokemon master or like the Beyblade champion, or I had a lot of interest as a kid. This arena is unsurprisingly filled with lava and fire hazards that lower our G-Power if a non-Pyrus Bakugan touches them. It's not too much of an issue since there's tons of items and a really easy on-rail section to use, but it's something to keep in mind. There's also these really big gaps between the lava that makes it pretty easy to just bounce over it most of the time. We once again take out Julio, Chanley, and a disadvantaged Klaus. I have to say Fortress has been a wonderful addition to the team. Fairly strong, controls well, and I happen to have gate cards and ability cards that fit Pyrus pretty well. Especially that one card that boosts us if all of our Bakugan are different elements. It was between Fortress and Preyas for me, but Preyas can only be Aquas, Subterra, or Darkus, none of which are really going to be any help for us for pretty much the rest of the game. Honestly, if they made him available earlier, he would be pretty useful, but as it is, there's not really a point, which sucks because he's also one of my favorite Bakugan. Next up, of course, is Dan and Drago in the finals. Let's see if number one is really all that. We pretty immediately have Leo versus Drago. Dan plays aggressively, using his ability cards often and trying to start battles literally whenever he can. Unfortunately for Drago though, Leo is a solid brick wall that takes him out no problem. I guess we know who the better dragon is in this scenario. Dan honestly kinda makes a fool of himself by instigating battles with my Bakugan without gathering items and starting them on our cards. So after that Drago fight, we win pretty quickly. Sorry Dan, but if this is number one, I'm concerned about the thinking capabilities of the entire planet. With that, I guess we're now an official battle brawler. We're finally on the team. And who is that? Oh god, it's Marduk. Masquerade too, but they're just here to threaten us and gloat. Thank god this is not the time to be fighting Vladitor again. It turns out Marduk used to be a pretty decent Bakugan player, but then he started to use underhanded tactics to win, and everyone, including his long-term battle partner, ended up hating him. He lost his passion and decided to make it everyone else's problem. Sounds like a few people I've met over my time too. Also, all of his Bakugan were sent to hell, so there's that too. Valid? I don't know. It seems a bit extreme, but what do I know? By the way, Runo says this.
Okay, I get that. But how'd he hook up with Vladitor?
And this is just a personal question, but is this a normal expression to use outside of the, usual sexual contexts? I'm not really sure. It's probably fine, but it caught me off guard when I heard it for the first time. I was thinking maybe this is like an Americanism, but then I remembered that the show was produced and dubbed in Canada, so any localization would also probably be done in Canada, and now I just have no idea. Anyways, Vladitor was a big meanie on Vestroia and was sealed away in the Doom Dimension with Bakugan magic or whatever, and he was freed when Naga stole the MacGuffin, I guess. For some reason, we're not convinced that Marduk is all gone though, since, why would he participate in proper tournaments if his goal is just to destroy all Bakugan? Right? Like, surely he could just steal them and put them in like a meat grinder or something, but no, he's playing legitimately. It also seems that Leo has finally won everyone over, and the tension between us and the rest of the team is resolved. It's time for us to take Marduk down and save the day. Surely that won't be too hard, right? Right? Well, either way, it's time. All of the battle brawlers are here, and whoever wins the tournament has to take Marduk down. And conveniently, everyone's Bakugan are also now evolved. We have Blade Tigrera, Hammer Gorum, Preyas Angelo and Diablo, Storm Skyrus, and Delta Dragonoid, as well as Leonidas of course, but he's still his basic yet very strong self. This tournament and arena are Chaos themed, perfect for us. And there are these Tigrera statues which are super useful. Surely this one isn't going to be as easy as the last ones, right? There must be times where I need battle items lying around. Even with our new Chaos Tentacleer, this should be a challenge. Marucho starts us off and he actually doesn't cause us too much trouble, but I do love Preyas Angelo and Diablo. I have this dual mold one that's worth a pretty penny, but it's from the first release and I got it from a friend, so its colors are wrong and it's also pretty scuffed. but these guys work interestingly. Diablo is both an Aquas and Pyrus attribute at the same time, so it will take the higher of the bonuses on any card, and in the shooting battle, both attributes will power you up the same amount. Angelo is the same as him, but Chaos instead of Pyrus. But they go down pretty easily, and it's off to fight Julie. I don't even see Hammer Gorham since I win with an easy fight and 2 double stands. It felt a little cheap, but she kept falling off the edge over and over, so it's really not my problem. And with all of this flying by, next up is Runo, who you'd think would be an issue since she's also a Chaos user, but no, she's also really, really easy. What's going on here? Maybe Shun will put up more of a fight. No. He's also super easy. I mean, Storm Skyrus is strong, don't get me wrong, but with Harpus and Tentaclear, I'm never really at risk of losing a battle, and Leo has both a boosting gate card and ability card. Is this whole thing gonna be this easy? Should I have held off on the partner Bakugan until after the post-game? Next up, of course, is Dan and Delta Dragonoid, so I'm hoping for a good fight despite his last showing. And I beat him without him winning a single card. Again. Okay, to be perfectly clear, my strategy is just lobbing my Bakugan at this jump pad here and taking the path it launches me to. I'm not doing anything special. This is really just that easy right now. Oh, and great, Masquerade and Dual Hydronoid are up next, who have a disadvantage in this arena. Alright, let's see how easy this one is, and yep, he lost without getting a single gate card. Really? Well, there's still Marduk and Vladitor, I guess. Maybe there'll be a change in pace? I guess the Darkest tournament is going to be a huge leap in difficulty then, because this is way too easy. Before we move on to the next fight though, it looks like off-screen the rest of the Battle Brawlers also somehow lost to Vladitor, despite, losing to me. So it's up to us to stop him, as expected. Even with everyone's support, it seems like Leo and Vladitor are about even, and it's anyone's match. But I guess it's time to finish this, even though I'm pretty sure there's another tournament after this. But that'll have to wait until after I've done some more BP grinding. Alright, well, here goes. Yep, that's still the Chaos Arena, and I guess the battle I was worrying about is still to come. I expect this one to be just as easy as the others, and oh. At a power-up that makes any points we collect go to one of us at random. That's me losing by 6 points. That's the first ever loss for Leonidas. Oh, it's alright. Harpus manages to beat Vladitor and he doesn't get another card. I guess that battle item really carried him. Speaking of which, I never really used them. There's a couple of them. A basic G-Power booster, one that freezes your opponent, the weird .1, but I never broke any crystals, so I never really got to use them. I guess it doesn't really matter yet. Wait, what's happening? Wait.
What are you doing?
No, it's now? He's evolving now? Please don't tell me it's a post-tournament fight. Oh no.
Huh? What's that? No way! He's evolved!
Yeah, so apparently this fight is in a rift that threatens to destroy the entire world if it's open for too long. And hey, look at that! I forgot that Leo got an evolution. Enter Omega Leonidas. Hopefully it'll be enough to beat Vladitor, especially with nobody. Harpus and Tentaclear are not here to help. It's just Leo. And wait a minute, if this is a Darkest arena, we have the disadvantage. Uh-oh, looks like Odalise chose the wrong attribute. Damn me, wanting to be canon by choosing Chaos when my heart was screaming Aquas. Oh well, how bad can it really be? Surely Child Me was just bad at video games and it's not actually that hard. Let's focus our deck on purely Chaos cards and see what we're in for. I'm immediately collecting stuff. I don't care what it is or how far away it is, I am getting it. Thankfully, this arena has another super easy on-rail section, and it gets us quite a lot of G-Power, a good 1 to 200. I land on my super cool Leonidas gate card, and that's a turn 1 special throw. Oh, cool. He gets to steal 40 Gs from me when he 790, and he also has a plus 400 ability card? Well, I won my first battle at least. Barely. And hey, the gate card he used benefited me a lot too. And I lost this battle. Oh boy. Battle number 2, here we go. I lost. Like really lost. Yeah, I lost battle 3 as well. What is happening? I'm getting at least an extra 100 G power every single turn, by the way. That's how big of a difference there is. Jesus Christ, no wonder I couldn't beat this as a kid. My only shot left is to pull out my 400 ability card, to which he uses his too. That's another loss. A real loss. I lost a fight. This is the first time I've done it this entire game. What happened to the easy time we had in the tournament? Seriously, I went from being untouchable to being very inappropriately touched. What gives? Why make such a difficult part come at the end of such an easy one? Leo is fully leveled up too. With the exception of 2 levels, everything went into G power. Is this a repeat? Am I going to be stuck here again? Forced to lose over and over and over again as Vladitor cuts me in half with his huge axe and Vladitor laughs at me like a spoiled child? No. No. Surely this was a one-time thing. Surely I'm not going to have to fight him over and over and over again until my palms start bleeding. No. So what? It was just one loss. I did that like 14 times when I played as a kid. I did give up after that, but that doesn't matter. This is nothing. Let's just give it another shot. This time, let's play it safe. Let's hold on to the Leonidas card. The same strat though, collect as much as I can and use the auto rail section. We got a barrier this time too. Not that it matters since he can still steal 40 Gs. Alright, but I did get a pretty big boost from the battle minigame and boom, the first battle was won. Those battle booster power-ups are super useful. I'm kind of surprised I never used them earlier since I think I was prompted like maybe once or twice, but for whatever reason I just decided not to. If I was to go back and do it again, I think this game would probably be even easier since I would have those in my arsenal as well. But honestly, the fact that this is the first arena where I have to use them in is kind of speaking to the rest of the game's difficulty. Seriously, it's like I had my brain off for this entire game and then all of a sudden, right at the very end, they want to torture me. Why do you want to torture me? You're a game about balls that roll around. He does get a big boost on Battle 2, but I'm just about able to pull through and get my second gate card. My next turn doesn't quite go as nicely though, as I accidentally missed the gate card because I bounced 1,000 feet into the air and then I ran out of energy. And power shots aren't really an option here, so I just try again and I do get an extra 240 Gs. And since he landed first, I don't get my soul sucked. And it's on to Battle 3. I should probably focus on making sure that he lands first from now on, since I think a big issue is him stealing those Gs from me. This could be it though. And I think I'll let this one speak for itself.
Battle!
And there we are. After 14 years, I finally won. Not only did I win, I won another perfect game. I was expecting this to take forever. I remember doing this so many times as a kid that I built up this mental wall of Marduk being this insurmountable foe that I would have to struggle against over and over. And don't get me wrong, this is the hardest fight in the game, and I did have to actually think and strategize as best as I could. But part of me was kind of craving the challenge. Part of me wanted to have to struggle, but that wasn't the case, and with Vladitor beaten, it seems his time is up. He apologizes to Marduk, and the two of them seem genuinely sad that their time together is coming to an end, even calling each other partners. And moreover, it looks like Leonidas is in the same position.
Partner, it looks like my time has come as well.
No, you can't leave me. Don't go, Leonidas, please.
Goodbye. I'm proud towards battle.
Leonidas.
Vladitor! You can't! You can't just leave me here!
Vladitor may have been evil, but at least he had pride. Quit crying and stand up like a man.
You don't understand!
I know you really love Bakugan. Okay, so you lost your partner, but you're still here. Hang in there and you can play again. When you're up to it, challenge me to a Bakugan battle. Who knows, you might even win.
Watch out, kid! One day, I'll whip you good!
Maybe. I'll take your challenge anytime, but this time as a friend.
But with that, it's done. The game is over, and our time as a battle brawler comes to an end. It's a bit of a sour note to leave things on, but at the very least I can safely say that this game was just as much of a pleasure to play today as it was as a kid. And I'm really glad I went back to revisit it, especially since I never really got to play the proper IRL card game as a kid. This was just about the only way I had to actually use my Bakugan outside of just smashing them on a magnet and making them fight each other in my own head.
This is where I met Leonidas. What? It can't be!
How have you been, partner?
I can't believe it! Leonidas! I'm not dreaming, am I? What happened to you?
I don't really know what happened either, but just as he was about to vanish, Vladitor reached out and helped me.
Vladitor helped you?
He gave me his remaining powers, said I deserved them. Maybe he wasn't all bad.
I don't know what to say, Leonidas. I'm so happy to see you. We'll never be apart again from now on.
Of course not. We're partners. I promise.
Bakugan Brawl!
What, you thought this game was gonna have a sad ending? Nah, look at our boy. So proud of him, how far he came from his edgelord little ball form to this fun new handsome dragon. If anyone's grown the most over this game, I'd say it was Leonidas. You know, in a weird way, it was kind of him who's the main character. We're just there on his journey, helping him out where we can. It actually endears me a lot to Leonidas, and I can understand why I liked him so much as a kid. I really wanted a toy of him, but I'm not actually sure if they ever made a real one. But either way, he's back, and we're off to more adventures. This is a very special game to me. Not just because of my personal history with it, but because I think for so many kids like me, it gave us that chance to live out a dream of ours, battling alongside our favorite characters from the show that we loved, having our own partner Bakugan, proving that being kind is always better than evil. And as a game, overall, I think it holds up pretty well. I'm sure the other versions hold up better graphically, but it's a fun time even with the PS2 version. In my honest opinion, the only real flaws I have with this game are its fluctuating difficulty and the incredibly long loading screens. I think it does perfectly do exactly what it set out to do, be a digital version of the physical Bakugan card game. It even has local multiplayer so you can battle your friends. I was being totally serious when I said a modern sequel to this with online multiplayer would be incredible. It might already be a thing and I'm just not aware of it. I hope it is. Going through this game again was a blast of nostalgia, and I think I really needed it. And I'll probably end up watching some of the anime now that I'm done. But seriously, what a genius creation Spin Master came up with. Seriously, Bakugan are awesome, and I am fully willing to say that as a grown-ass man. Ultimately, 2009's Bakugan Brawlers is a simple and fun game that's a perfect representation of what Bakugan is. Sure, it's missing quite a few Bakugan from the first waves, and the story and graphics are nothing to write home about, but do they have to be? For me, it's more than enough as someone who loved Bakugan as a kid and is rediscovering a lot of the things that mattered to me back then. I can safely say that this game has proven to me that no matter how many times you failed or faltered, you can always come back later and destroy your enemies and turn them into a sniveling child crying on the ground. Furthermore, I think this is just a better way to play the game than, actually playing the game. I get that they probably didn't make too many sequels to this because the majority of their money was probably made from toy sales. And I mean, Bakugan are still being sold today, even though they're not anywhere as good in my opinion. But I get it. I understand. Bakugan, despite being very popular, didn't really break out as more than just a toy in an anime. I don't think this video game was very successful, and I don't believe any of the ones that followed it were either. So I can understand why this kind of sat dormant for a very long time. I would love to see even just like a remake of this with the rest of the line from set 1. But I don't think we're ever gonna get that. And that's fine. This game is still more than enough fun to come back to every now and then that I really can't complain too much. It's got me curious about the other Bakugan that came out around the same time, but from what I remember, they weren't really the same kind of thing. I believe this was the only one at the time that was actually like proper Bakugan video game. The other ones were more of a different genre. You were playing as the Bakugan, you weren't playing Bakugan. To wrap everything up here, if you like Bakugan, or even if you have just a passing interest in getting into it, I would definitely recommend this game. It's a fun time, even if you're just a fan of simple tabletop games. But you're also not missing anything by not playing this game. I enjoyed my time with it though, and I hope you enjoyed watching me enjoy my time with it. And hey, if you want more of this, you can tell me by leaving a like, or subscribing, or commenting. Literally any way of engaging with the video is kind of how the algorithm works. So in the meantime, thank you all so much for watching, stay safe, have fun, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye!